How do you keep doing this? Yeah, Ninja 34 this week, Ghost 3, and... Okay. It is very awesome they got Jiraiya, the World Ninja Jiraiya. If you've seen my videos this year, it's where I got the Unleash the Buffalo clip from, that I ended up using in my, Mega Ranger review. It's one of the old Metal Heroes series, and as far as I'm aware, Metalder's been translated, but they are the big... Well, I shouldn't say big anymore. It's a dead franchise, but they're one of the significant franchises from Toei that has in no way been significantly subtitled. Other countries got it subtitled. I know it was big in South America. I think Brazil, because of the references. But we know of it because of the Metal Heroes stuff. A bit of a revival Toei's done the last few years, specifically with the Gokaiger vs. Gavan, and the 3 Space Sheriff movies that came out following that, and the team up with the Go Busters and Superior Tyson Z. So they're not dead, but they're a languished property. Though they're ending on with 2 very terrible series, allowed Kamen Rider to come back in 1999. So good stuff came from it. And there's a lot of respect and enjoyment of those series because they were, once again, a bit more mature in premise than Sentai can be at times. Sentai has its mature moments, too, a lot of the time. It's just that this was kind of compounding the same error they kept hitting with the previous 2 ones. I'll get to it in a moment. But in the opening sequence, we got a special cameo. Yoshi Sudarso. I mispronounced his name as Yoshi Sudaro when I did my quick review of Dino Charge Episode 1, and he plays Koda in Dino Charge, the Dino Charge Blue Ranger, the Null Sun's counterpart from Kyoryuger. And this is significant because this is the first time a Power Rangers actor has appeared in Sentai. There have been Sentai actors that have appeared in Power Rangers, obviously, but only as stock footage. With the exception, of course, of the stunt actors, as the stunt team for Power Rangers has worked on Sentai and Kamen Rider and vice versa. Specifically, when Koichi Sakamoto is involved, he has his own stunt team for that kind of thing. But if I'm wrong on that, I apologize. It's just that I know it's happened for everything but the actual face actors, and even though it was less than 30 seconds of a cameo, it was a nice thing. Before people count Lost and Found in Translation, the Power Rangers Dino Thunder episode that kind of lampshaded and exposed people to Sentai more properly by dubbing a Sentai episode and doing a kind of MST3K framework for the wraparound bits. Well, not quite MST3K, but it occasionally cut back to the main team there, and they'd kind of be commenting on the reception of the episode. Yeah, that was stock footage, again, with the original thing, but... Anyways, the team-ups... The team-up. The crossover starts with, the Ninninger's out fighting Ariake's attempts to gather fear. That's another thing about this series lately. They've completely forgotten the fear thing. That they're supposed to be gathering fear as... I can only date this back a while. But they're not actually causing fear. They're invoking despair. You know, dark emotions. Not necessarily fear that would come from attacks, because their attacks don't really cause fear. They cause despair. And come on, this is Japan. They have at least 1 monster attack a week. So there's got to be a point where you're just inundated on it. And I'm bringing reality into this, yeah, but it's something that I feel has been forgotten. Not just because of the Izayoi Ninja School thing, but it dates back a while in the show that they haven't really been gathering fear from fear-causing attacks for months? I want to say months. Anyways, while on the attack, preventing the attack, Jiraiya appears and attacks them, but he has a good reason for it, which is something I will credit the special for. See, he knew about the Izayoi Ninja School, was asked to stop and confront the Izayoi Ninja, but as the Izayoi Ninja School is based off of the Igasaki Ninja School, then, there are similarities with how they use their ninjutsu. It's through the Nin Shuriken. Except that's not really a facet of the school. That's how the team are cheating with developing their ninjutsu. Because Yoshitaka doesn't do that, and Yoshitaka is the only non-trainee ninja in the ninja school, and yeah, he didn't have, as we've been shown with the flashbacks, Takeru and Fuka's father and Kyoemon did not have this shortcut. Admittedly, Kyoemon has the hammer, but we've never gotten much explanation of where the hammer came from. Instead, it's just crafted technology that automatically does what they should actually be learning. See where I'm going with this? So none of the Izayoi school ninja really use those kinds of things in the same way. Kyoemon had 3 shuriken that would learn the abilities of their mechs, so his partner mech would be immune to them. But again, it's not them regularly using it. It can't be used as a qualifier for why they would be singled out for, being evil ninja, as Jiraiya is attacking them for. So the logic behind why he's attacking them works, just not the visual cues that would justify the reason. The logic works, the reason doesn't. No, the reasoning for why he's attacking works, the logic behind it. Either or, it's not straight up. However, as Jiraiya is legendary amongst ninja, obviously, for surviving the Ninja Wars, which I assume was part of the plot for Jiraiya's series. As said, because it's not translated, I can't watch it and check it to find out and get the full understanding. And the Metal Heroes Wiki is... wow, that's pretty much just barren, basic information. It's like, yeah, not good. But that's because, it's not translated, no one's put the effort into translating it, and that is all in hindsight. Wikipedia and the like didn't exist when these shows were around, so every kind of information you would get would be secondhand or from private blogs from people who know the language and, like the media. Anyways, since he's legendary, they realize who he is and gets him to stop attacking them by pretty much conking everybody that's fighting on the head with the metal technique, since that always, instead of creating something useful in the projections, always does something small like coins or pans or something. But then Jiraiya notices the emblem of the Igasaki Ninja School. Again, something that didn't exactly exist before with Yoshitaka. It's just something that was built into the powers, and gets him to stop attacking. However, then we get his subplot for why he's going to be teaming up with them, which... no. This is the 3rd time they've done this, and, see, not exactly in the same way, but it's the same. It boils down to the same thing. Takaharu teaches a lesson to someone that is his superior in some respect, either his senior fighter, senior combatants, the senpai thing. He teaches the seniors a lesson instead of them teaching, the new or inexperienced people something. Yeah, they did it with Ninja Red and Hurricane Red in the Sentai Team-Up in Episode 7. They did it with Drive vs. Ninja. They did it, and now they're doing it with Jiraiya. And each time it's Takaharu teaching them a lesson that either does not come from their situation or is anathema to their characterization. Takaharu got Shinosuke to accept he's an idiot and there's nothing wrong with being an idiot. He is not an idiot, and there is something wrong with being an idiot. With Sasuke and, as I've not seen Hurricaneger, I'm forgetting Hurricane Red's name, I apologize. With them, it turned a lesson from being, teaching them to be better ninja by actually teaching them some type of evasive skills into, no, we're all doing this because we watched someone die due to his own idiocy, and, not actually correcting the problem, or emphasizing that it's not a problem, this is what makes him awesome. No! That is not how you do it! And here, it's a lesson to take responsibility and man up for him being assigned a presidency of, ninjutsu, in that, apparently there's a bunch of ninja that want him to lead the ninja clan, set down rules and enforces, because, he's getting old, all these people respect him, and, maybe he could do some good by bringing them all together into an organized form. And this is all coming to pass after Izayoi's actions in, exposing ninjutsu when they're doing this. Except, this has been happening for longer than that. So there's really no secret ninja thing anymore, because, okay, Kakuranger in 1994, Jiraiya in either a bit before or a bit after. I want to say before. They said it was 27 years, it's 2015. So I date that back to 1993? No. 5 1988. Yeah. Oh yeah, last hero of the show era. That was something that was advertised as. So they're trying to build it off of him skirting responsibility for a job he was assigned instead of ran for wanting to be elected to. It doesn't work like that. In fact, they already have a bunch of proclamations in his name, an entire book of ninja rules to, keep it all secret that the Ninninger are violating, since this is new policy and all that, all of which would work specifically against their ability to defend people. Except, you can't really do that. You can't shove someone into a position they don't want. So the Aesop of taking responsibility and a frontline fighter taking up a different duty than fighting on the front lines to, allow their youngers and successors to step forward and protect them from kind of legal means, it falls flat because, they never should have been able to assign this from him, make him take that responsibility in the first place. That he decides to do it later after seeing the Ninja in action and, seeing them hindered by bureaucrats who don't know anything about a situation personally is, it's admirable. It's something worth pushing for, but not this fucking way. Wow, this is like, you would think from this kind of crossover that they would once more get a lesson that would improve them, but no, it's the same thing that's been happening all series. They don't learn a lesson, and yet they get a power-up because someone related to them does something. And it's like, how do you screw this up for 34 episodes now? 34? Am I on the right number? 34? Yeah, 34. Because they've been improving. They've been fighting, they've been training, but they're completely missing the point of almost every lesson they learn, at least through Takaharu. It's like, it's really only because of his idiocy that this is happening. I don't believe that. In fact, even the show is pointing it out at this point, that the lesson that it's gotten from you're good at telling people what to do translates to taking yeah, that's specifically what happens. When the monster of the week causes younger people to be forced to carry around their elders, either by relation or by relative age, because he's based on a barbell. You know, weighted down by life, weighted down by your age. You're old, so you're not as strong as the young. These kids today are so pathetic in their resources, and you know what? This would have been a decent team-up had they actually played off of that. Had, you know, Jiraiya been dismissive of the Ninninger due to, you know, them not actually learning their techniques properly, them being reliant on the Nin Shuriken, and, you know, him realizing that they do just fine with the ninjutsu this way, even if they aren't properly learning them. It would actually address a problem with the show and how they're developing, by either making them realize that Jiraiya was right and they should be learning them more personally, which that revelation would actually be learning a lesson and improving their mentality that they supposedly have to improve, and, you know, them actually training and working on these skills without the Nin Shuriken. That would have been a decent way to fill time in the episode. Instead, it's tied down by this monster's ability that, you know, makes it, you're old, yeah, and you're young, and you have to put up with me. You're weighted down by things by age. This was an insult to continuity, because continuity is a lot. One of my big complaints of a lot of the team-ups for toy stuff the last several years is they violate characters and their stories in the most egregious of ways by ignoring continuity. Fies was once again a big one this year with how they addressed last year's idiocy with the Kamen Rider Yongo digital video specials. And yeah, I just learned about how furious people are with that, and I'm more furious with the execution than the premise of fixing the continuity errors that Shoji Nomura's more complete ignorance to caused yet again. But it's kind of the same. That's kind of a weird subtext to this one, that these newer stories are weighted down by all these things that came before them. And you know what? I'm an individual that likes continuity. I like when these things are addressed. Except, you know, with how Toei does these things, each of their stories are connected but standalone, meaning they don't necessarily need to perfectly align with everything that came before them, unless, and this is the one big exception, when they team up. They can tell their own stories however they want to when they're just isolating themselves to their own story. But when you invoke the team up, you need to get them right, or someone's going to get angry at you. And that's the way continuity weighs people down. That's how age weighs people down. Ninninger is an interesting case where it both violates continuity, and yet, with all its relations to other series, it can only exist because of continuity. Because, come on, it's the one series that has multiple Sentai team-ups, the Kamen Rider team-up, and the Metal Hero team-up. We haven't really had that, except for... Okay, Gokaiger had the Metal Hero team-up, and Shinkenger had the Kamen Rider team-up with Decade, and the Tyson movies, sadly. So it is tying the shows better together now, but I still find it done pretty poorly. So yeah, end the episode. Jiraiya. That's not actually his name. That's his title, and they only used the real character's name a couple times in it. So I apologize if I'm not getting it right, but he learns this. He decides to take responsibility from Takaharu observing that he's good giving orders, as he instructs Takaharu in how to counter the Kaijin's attacks while he's stuck on his back. Except this is a thing that is hindered in direction, because the first several actions are, he's telling him to do this out of nowhere instead of do what I tell you to, and that would speed up his kind of reaction time. It's kind of, he's very slow on the uptake until the first couple movements where he realizes, oh, he's preventing, allowing them to fade in the counter monster's attacks. So this is a direction and editing issue that once more screws with what they're trying to convey with this. And you know what? Ordering someone around in battle is different than, ordering or organizing or running an organization. You're a field commander when you're ordering someone in battle. The skills don't really... It's similar in premise, but they don't translate to other forms. If you're good in a combat situation, you're not necessarily good in a bureaucratic situation, and that was what was Jiraiya's issue in the first place. He's not good with that kind of work. So yeah, even the show is undermining its own premise and glorification of Takaharu because he allows this individual to learn a lesson instead of, the lesson being learned by the people that are ninjas in training. How do you keep doing this? I don't like Ninninger. I think we've made that pretty damn clear by this point. And yet, I still don't find it worse than Tokuger. Ghost is certainly better, but not without its issues. It's certainly better paced than last episode, but, it still has the problem with Akari. Akari, as we're revealed, is working on going through Takeru's father's research and notes on ghosts and, all of his stuff down there, because, it's factual evidence of... It's a basis for her to start off her thing about finding ghosts, except finding proof that ghosts exist, finding ways to quantify them. Except the problem is she's still a staunch disbeliever. In fact, when she finally gets her thing going, she's baffled by the truth that she's presented and begins to reject it, even though it's something she has quantified and allowed to see with her own eyes. It's one thing for her to be flummoxed, baffled by it as she kind of researches her own worldview, but calling Takeru's transformation insane, it's not insane, it's inconceivable. I should have used that joke before. It's, you keep using that word. I do not think it means what you think it means, but it's improbable, but it's not... the thing that bugs me about this is, she invents this, spray that, affects the invisibility of ghosts, and it's a chemical. It's made out of gold dust. Do I have the page for that? Is a device invented by Akari Sakuma with Sen's help, and the ingredient already in Takeru, which... Ingredient, yeah, it's chemical based. Works by spraying golden dust in a certain area, allowing ghost-like creatures such as the Gamma, Ghost Riders, or the phantasm-like creatures to be visible within human eyes. It's a chemical based thing that allows them to create to visualize things that are out of place. Now, how I think that works is, it's affecting their eyes and whatever makes ghosts invisible or intangible, allowing them to witness them through this misting effect. And it's temporary, which is also a good thing. So it's like maybe allowing them to see out of phase with into whatever phase domain that renders ghosts invisible to... I'm trying to science this because, she's supposed to be the scientist, and, she's not thinking of theories of how to, prove or quantify or understand, and, I do this. I do this with these shows. I'm the nerd that does this in trying to find a relatable explanation for this, and I would have gone with energy fields. Like, go off of string theory and alternate dimensions and phase domains. Like, this has been a thing that was used a couple times in Stargate, that people became ghosts because they were taken out of phase with the universe. So they could pass through walls, they were invisible, they were effectively intangible, they could not be heard by people, and yet there were still ways they learned to interact with the real world, because there were materials that were also out of phase, and with the whole ghost phenomena, it's like controllable by their spirit, whether they want to be intangible, invisible, or physical, invisible. So, instead of trying to science it by, by going off the point of Takeru's going invisible and out of phase, by trying to create a phase correction device that allows her to either, go it in steps, create some type of technology that allows her to scan them, like maybe a set of goggles or something that would allow her to see into these other phases or detect things that weren't there before, and then use that as a basis to do it on a wider scale. Instead, she creates a gold dust that she puts in a blower and sprays around all over the place. I do like, however, that it's not her that does it. It's Senin, the sage guy, assisting her to figure out what was stored on Takeru's computer to find this and then synthesize it. I like this because it's helping her to be less of a skeptic. There are issues with it, but I like it. I have issues with this. I have issues with the presentation. I should say is the big issue here with that. But it's also because she is interfacing a laptop with all of the background stuff that's a giant ancient computer, which, no. There's a thing now where, if your computer is X years old, it no longer can interface with anything newer. Like, we're at the point where computers in the 80s can't, run with all the data processing that's in current computers because it's too much of a load for them to process. You can sometimes take from them, but it's like you need some kind of signal converter or whatnot to get that off of it. And some of the stuff that's shown in this, and that she's taken off of Takeru's father's thing, is like ancient. Granted, it's 10 years old, so it shouldn't be ancient, but it's like the wall props are from the 70s and whatnot. Actually, I should remember that. That should be the part I should remember most prominently. 10 years ago was 2005, so it's not as egregious as an issue. And hey, in 2005 we had Hibiki, and before that was Blade, and before that was Fies. I'm working on the Fies videos. So, and some of those were pretty tech-heavy series, so it's like you forget about that with this being a secret base with 70s props and not really antiquated technology that this is being acquired from. There's like a setting gap there. But yeah, it's actually Senin that's helping her in this, and after she synthesizes it for the first time, he is the one that appears to her and, tells her the basis of this stuff, and she's excited that she can now prove ghosts exist, and yet they deny that ghosts exist. And yeah, they really should have addressed this better last episode, or I think it would have been better had they were pacing this out a bit more, maybe start with the goggles and then, go for the wider effect instead of having it all in one episode. But still, the pacing is not bad for it, despite my issues with it. So, they've started the Paranormal Investigation Service, and the first one they have is the case of Robin Hood, who Takeru is tipped off to by Senin's clues, which I think is going to be a recurring thing here, because he did that for the last two icons Takeru grabbed already. here's a question. Why is he being so helpful for this? Yurusen seems to be going all Kyubey, because it's voiced by the actress that did Madoka, so there's that kind of vibe going off of it all season. But there's kind of, they're not the ones creating the Ganma, we know that, but there's kind of like a sinister eagerness to all of that. Anyways, they're directed to a woman that is basing herself off of Little John due to a Ganma whose name I don't think was mentioned, and I'm not going to bother looking it up on top of this. So, there's being influenced to do something along the lines of Robin Hood because her father died for, I'm forgetting the reason, and is trying to steal from the rich, give to the poor, kind of back, being this uber thief to, not exactly honor him, but in revenge, and that revenge is all being influenced by the Ganma, who can create ghosts to devour from these items through, manipulating the states of their hosts. As what was mentioned before is the ghosts from relics like this can only manifest from emotional states and a connection to the historical figures. Takeru had his connection to Musashi. The you mentioned from last episode had the connection to Edison, how they idolized them and had a level of connection with them. And we've shown the positive way twice now. The inventor and the way they're shown this time is in it's drawing out in negativity. The more they harmonize with the more malevolent aspects of their legend or history, the easier it is for the Ganma to manifest the ghost and then devour it. Except doing that will drain away the life of the one they're using it for. Whereas Takeru's is more in a method of harmonization and then using his mysticism to draw it out once the harmonization syncs up. It's like parallels. One is corrosive, the other is benign. And, I don't understand why the Ganma couldn't do it that way as well. Maybe they don't have the spiritualism, maybe it's like it's being pulled out instead of called out with an outstretched hand or something. But yeah, the Ganma is manipulating her the entire way, but once she's freed of it by Takeru, who overshadows her, I think, what they do is have him hug the woman who's being manipulated to be the Little John thief after she acquires a historical version of Robin Hood's bow. Robin Hood, however, is not a historical figure. This was brought up with the Doctor Who episode from last season. He's not a historical figure, he's a myth. Yeah. So, it's like, this was a story from those ye olden times that doesn't have a basis. It's not based on a real person. You can debate it all you want, but there's no actual evidence of him in these stories. It's all... Admittedly, this is a fictional universe, so maybe Robin Hood exists in this iteration of time, but, it's kind of, since they're doing the whole historical, education thing this season for younger viewers, it's like, you're kind of lying to them while trying to get this, while trying to bring up the whole Archer thing as the long-range form for Ghost. Yeah. Where was I with this? Right, Takeru hugs her and apparently phases into her with how they do it, and that allows him to free the woman from the Ganma's manipulations somehow by drawing out her will to live, because apparently casting off the will and need for life to obtain this thing is apparently the final step in the Ganma's way of manifesting the ghost. Honestly, not a bad way of doing it, and I'm calling it overshadowing after what Danny Phantom, I rewatched Danny Phantom this last week because I needed something to watch while I was editing, instead of Possession, because Possession is creepy. Possession is really, really creepy. It's like, in science fiction and fantasy circles, if you're possessed, it's considered a fate worse than death. It is always been considered a violation of the body, mind, and soul that is almost incomparable of this kind of stuff. It's like you lose yourself and you can't do anything while someone else is in the driver's seat. It's like it's icky. So I'm glad they're not going that route this season, because yeah, especially by the hero, that's not a good thing. But yeah, this bringing out her will to live because Takeru understands the value of life by being dead is a good way to kind of break that connection. And, you know, maybe if they explore that a bit more, that this is one of his ghost powers, that would be nice. Robin's Soul. Yeah, this is interesting for me, because apparently all of Takeru's forms are going to be I wouldn't say reliant, but they create different weapons from the Gangan Saber or whatever else he does, because Edison uses the Gangan Saber in its gun mode, Musashi in its Nitoryo mode. He just has it as a basic broadsword in his Ore Soul. And now it combines. This is the first time we're seeing the Gangan Saber combined with an auxiliary equipment to act as a form. In this case, it's the Condor Phone. The Condor Phone being the ghost gadgets, the tech of the season, that was seen in a previous episode. Now, something that a bit bugs me about this reveal is they don't have a prop for the Condor Phone. They have a copy of the toy. And the toy is comically small compared to the actors. Whereas once it transforms into its robot mode, it's much larger, and it's even larger still when it's combined with the Gangan Saber to create a, it looks like a crossbow. It actually works like a bow, where it's held at a distance, then he draws it back, and no, they should have just kept it as a crossbow instead of having the whole energy drawback motion. That's no. But otherwise, the form is really good, and I like the design, again, of the Ghost Parka. I like Takeru's utilization of it, in that he's not an experienced archer, but the soul seems to be helping him learn how to do it, and he defeats the monster by, after it throws up shield, Onari, because he's allowed to see ghosts now due to Akari's field, points out the way that the monster, who's throwing axes at him, opens up a hole in its shield that he has to shoot through. And you know, it's a good missing of expectations, in that, you know, it's a form that just dominates automatically once it's unlocked because no one's expecting it. They are expecting it. They have a defense. Takeru has to be smart and get help from his allies to properly counter it. Especially since Yuru-sen, who has been advising him on all this stuff, says that she doesn't have an easy solution for him, and that she doesn't always have all the answers, which is also a good thing, that he needs to be either, one, self-reliant, or two, be able to listen to others that maybe aren't as always as involved or informed, so he shouldn't ignore others' voices and all this just because he's the one experiencing, most experienced, etc., etc. Yeah, the Condor Phone lacking a prop does kind of annoy me, since it's a small device, so it doesn't match up with the size of the actors. Otherwise, it's fine. But yeah, they get some good press from this. The person turns them in. Overall, good episode. It's just that there's some fridge logic that's starting to pop in about the series, that it's not negatively harming it, but it's making me ask why they didn't go a different route with some of these things. I think, considering the reuse of props and a lack of actual props for the show as significantly as before means that they're kind of limited on budget, considering they have to rent out this elaborate shrine and all the location shoots, and it's always been starting to hurt for money due to their big event stuff starting to fall flat. So I guess they're trying to do something different with this series, make it a bit lower budget or something, because it's starting to be noticeable. I think that's all I have for this week. Halfway done editing the Fives videos. I got plans for December. Next week, Ninja is addressing a thing with Kinji from a couple episodes back. Thank you for finally acknowledging that. And Ghost is getting to Newton, meaning this should probably be where Drive and Ghost sync up continuity-wise, as Newton was in Surprise Future and a plot point in the last few episodes of Drive. Yeah. Okay, that's all I have. See ya.